The other day, I responded to a YouTube comment about why I recorded my video outside, and I said it was to break the stereotype that Clash Royale players never went outside and touched grass. But that wasn't entirely true because I don't go out a whole lot. I mostly went outside to record that video, and I usually only go outside to record videos or, do a little bit of yard work if that's necessary, but most of my time is spent inside. And yet, despite that, I've been having a ton of mosquito bites appear all over my body recently. And I haven't seen a single mosquito in the house. I spend most of my time in my room and I haven't seen a single mosquito there. Don't go outside a whole lot. And yet, I'm getting these mosquito bites all over, and I have no idea where they're coming from. I have several on my ankle and all of my leg. I had several on my bum, which I don't even know how they got there. I mean, like, how do you even get there if you're a mosquito? Are you pulling a Mission Impossible and rappelling into the underwear? Like, I'm not going to try to figure out how they do that, but that's what I imagine. Like, how do you even. Anyway, the reason why I'm telling you all this is because the whole mosquito bite thing was the inspiration for today's deck, because we're playing a biting themed deck where we're just going to be playing the cards with the worst teeth. So we have Giant Skeleton and Ice Golem because both of them have massive underbites. Berserker is missing a tooth. Mother Witch only has one tooth. Skeleton King is missing a few. The skeletons are just missing their entire lower jaw, so they're missing half their teeth. The E-Spirit looks, maybe it's just my eyes, but it looks like E-Spirit's missing a tooth. And then Minion Horde, you can see in the icon they have teeth sticking up from their mouth, so they have underbite as well. So we're just going to be playing the bad teeth cards and seeing if they're any good. And for today's message, I actually want you guys to imagine something. And you can either, if you want, you can close your eyes while you do this, or you can watch the horrendous gameplay as I tell you about this. But I want you to imagine that you are living in the 1800s, and I didn't even realize that guy went golem. I want you to imagine that you're living in the 1800s and you're a successful businessman. You've made it very well in the oil industry. You've made quite a bit of money. You're super successful. You have a wife. You have kids. You have a very nice house. You're doing very well for yourself. And you want to plan a trip to visit some of your extended family, but they don't live super close. They live on the other side of the mountains, and this is in a time where there's no cars because it's the 1800s. There's no phones. You can't FaceTime your family, so that's why you're planning a trip to go see them. And because you don't have a car, pretty much the way of transportation is with a stagecoach. So you get into one of those horse-drawn carriages, and that's your method of transportation. And not a whole lot of people have one, but you do because obviously you're wealthy. So you're planning a trip to go see your family via stagecoach and go across the mountains to visit them. And you don't know how to drive one. You're just a businessman. You're not a stagecoach driver. So you put an ad in the newspaper saying, I don't know, looking for a stagecoach driver, will pay very well. And you get a few applications. So a few people respond to you, they write letters back to you, and you end up setting up a meeting with a few of them. So one day, 3 people come into your house to interview for this position, and you ask each of them the same question. Now they're coming in one at a time, so they're not all sitting there. But the first guy comes in, and you ask him, if you were to drive my family across the mountains, how close could you get to the mountain's edge without going over? And the first guy thinks about it for a second, and he's like, I've been driving stagecoaches for 15 years. I could get within a foot of the edge without falling off. And you're like, okay, it's not bad. Second guy comes in, you ask him the same question, and he says, I've been driving them my whole life. I could get within 4 inches of the edge without falling off. I'm I'm that precise. I'm that good at driving a stagecoach. So you're like, okay. And then you bring the third guy in and you ask him, and he says, you ask, how close can you get to the edge without falling off? And he says, he thinks about it for a second, and he says, if I was driving you and your family across the mountains, I wouldn't even try to get close to the edge. Now, which of these three guys would you hire based on that? And if you're smart, you'd pick the third person, because he's not even going to risk it. He's not going to get close to the edge. And if you're driving your family across the mountains, of course you want them to be as safe as possible. So you end up hiring the third guy. And the moral of this story is that it's not a good idea to even see how close you can get to the edge. If there's something that is addicting, or something that's, is immoral or wrong, it's not a good idea to see how close you can get to that line without going over. Just an example is, I know this is rare for Clash Royale players, but if you have a partner and you believe in not having sex till after marriage, you shouldn't see how close you can get to that line without going over. You shouldn't see how far you can go physically without actually having sex. It's not a good idea to just see how close you can get without going over. If your friends are peer pressuring you into having a drink or trying an addicting substance, it's not a good idea to try just a little bit of it to kind of please your friends but not go over and kind of be on that edge. So I guess my advice to you is just stay away from the edge, stay away from those things, because as soon as you get sucked into it, it's exactly like falling off of a cliff from a stagecoach. You really can't get back up, because a lot of these substances, a lot of these habits are really addicting, and they just kind of suck you in. And I think it was Mark Twain who said that it's easier to stay out than to get out. So that's my advice to you all. Just stay away from bad things. Don't see how close you can get to the edge. Just, if something's immoral, I think most people have a pretty good moral compass, and it's just a good idea to stay far away from that. So I hope you all have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you soon.